the gold standard when it comes to referees. His no-nonsense style has gained the respect of coaches, players and fans across the world. Nigel is in Dublin today as part of the launch of the Union Cup Dublin 2019.
Yeah, it's Europe's largest LGBT inclusive rugby tournament and will be made up of over 45 teams over 3 days and will involve 1,500 players from 15 countries. And we're chuffed to say that we're joined by iconic rugby referee Nigel Owens and Ireland international player Lindsay to find out more. Probably a no-brainer, guys, in terms of throwing your support behind this.
100%. I'm an openly gay international rugby player, so when Europe's largest gay inclusive rugby tournament is hosted by our own Emerald Warriors in Dublin, I had no problem putting my shoulder to the wheel, and especially now with for the first time, a dedicated women's tournament, that was huge as well for me to drive equality.
Just as people remind people, it's going to happen between Friday the 7th and Sunday the 9th of June. It'll be up in the DCU Sports Campus, so you've got the best facilities.
Best facilities. I'm an alumni with DCU, so I know at first hand the facilities, and it's going to be based in St Clair, so huge pitches, historic university from a sporting side, and
home advantage.
Home advantage, always a big thing. And as I said, our own union, and obviously legends like this man here to my left being involved.
Let's talk about, the politics and the background and put it in context. Now, in your case, Lindsay, you've played international football, you played international rugby, you played basketball.
Yes.
At the highest level.
Yeah.
And also, of course, Dublin, an All-Ireland winner with Dublin.
Yeah.
I can't see how your sexual orientation has impeded your sporting career whatsoever. Is that me looking at it from the outside and not knowing the reality?
No, I think I've been very lucky. I had my own demons and I had my own journey where, there was self-loathing, and from that stance, but that was a personal thing. But I've been very privileged. I've had, a very high number of athletes who've been involved from the LGBT community who've been, had homophobic slurs, and I've had a little bit in an All-Ireland final. I had someone have a dig at me, but I never took that on a personal level. I'm just a fiery player, and I took that as a dig to try and rise me and have my concentration taken from the task at hand and winning that All-Ireland. So I've been very privileged, but I'm well aware that there has been that darker side, but it hasn't impeded me. It actually has had the opposite effect for me. Sport played a huge part in helping me becoming confident and to become an openly gay athlete. I didn't come out officially to close family and friends and to the world, I suppose, until my 30th birthday.
And Nigel, I was going to say, your experience, I mean, your personal issues you've come out and they've been well documented. But since you came out, if anything, your stature as a rugby referee and the affection the rugby going public had for you has grown.
Yeah, I think because rugby allowed me to be myself, and unless you're sort of happy within yourself and happy within the environment that you are, whether it's in a workplace or in my case in the sporting arena in rugby, unless you're happy within yourself and allowed to be yourself, then you can't excel and be the best you can be. So before I came out and the worry of being accepted by my family and friends, but also would I have to give up my refereeing because there was nobody out in the macho gay world of rugby at the time, it was affecting my performance as a referee. It was a little bit of worry, because you have to be happy within yourself. And we have a saying in Wales which is relevant, I think, in all walks of life. A happy referee is a good referee. So when I was able to be myself and allowed to be myself and enjoy my refereeing, because if you enjoy something, you'll always give that little bit extra to it, whatever it is, and that allowed me then to continue in my career and progress and become better as a referee. And the environment of rugby allowed me to do that because of the great sport that it is. And there were some difficult times, and you'll always get
Are you talking about the New Zealand-England match?
Yeah, you always get a minority of people in all walks of life, that don't like somebody because of their sexuality or the colour of their skin or for whatever reason. And in rugby it's no different, but the minority it is, and not the majority.
Is rugby better? Has rugby dealt with that better than other top-class sports?
Well, I think it has, because one of the most important values and ethos of rugby union as a sport is that value of respect. Respect from players to officials. Spectators will sit next to each other in the stadium, support opposition teams, but able to feel safe and enjoy a beer within that company that they are. So rugby instills that value of respect in you as a player, a referee, as a young kid starting to play the game. And I think that's hugely important, because if there's one thing that today's society lacks, I believe, is that value of respect. And because rugby upholds that important value of respect, it means that people respect people who are different to who they are. And I think that's a huge reason why rugby has sort of broken down a lot of those barriers in allowing people like Lindsay here and myself just to be ourselves and not to be treated any better or any worse. That's all you want is to be treated the same and allowed to get on with your life, whether it's in the sporting arena or outside it, and rugby has allowed that.
Can you tell us about the moment with Jefferson Poirot? I know you tweeted it, because we didn't hear everything that went on in that exchange with him about his rainbow laces. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, and I noticed it a couple of games recently since. I was refereeing Saracens a couple of weeks ago and a couple of plays of rainbow laces on as well. And the rainbow laces campaign is once a year, and all it does is just to let people know that people care. People outside the LGBT community, just look, we support you and we are friends of the LGBT community, and we just let you get on with your life. That's basically what it's about. And I noticed in the game he'd gone down injured, and I just wanted to check if he was okay. And I noticed he was wearing his laces, and I said, "Oh, I like the laces." And he said, "Pardon?" I said, "I like the laces." And
I like the laces.
he said, "Yes." He said, "It's very important to me that I show my support." And I thought, that's something very important there, and not just showing support on that day, but still wearing them now. So it's not a token gesture. Or we wear the races today just to tick the box. They were wearing it because it meant something to him, and to me as well. And I think that was very, very important. I think.
Well, here we are talking to the two of you, and we're talking about your sexual orientation. We should actually talk about the fact that Six Nations is just finished.
Yep.
Yes, and you're very happy and proud.
I'm very, very happy.
And you're I know.
Where do we
didn't
start?
have the best of.
No, men or women didn't really have the best tournament.
Why? Do you have any? Can you put your finger on what happened? Well, obviously, leave the men's side. Can you put your finger on what went wrong with you this year?
Yes, there's not just one thing. I think when you have a very young team, like we would have had a lot of very experienced players retire after the 2017 World Cup, which was hosted here. We had a few of them remain last year for last year's Six Nations, would help us get through. But this year we were starting really from the ground up. So we'd a lot of very, very young players who were playing in their first Six Nations. And you don't know really where you're at until you're in the championship, and then it's very hard to make those changes. We are amateur players who work full time, so I know I did media just for the Wales game, and the questions were how are you going to look at the mistakes.
That has to be the next level, Lindsay, doesn't it?
100%. Like that was Monday. I was meeting one of the girls to do conditioning, but we weren't meeting as a team till that Friday, and we were playing Wales on the Sunday. So you have captain's run on your Saturday, which is just a sharp 45 minutes. You can't fix any errors just on a one training session. Whereas I think the example I used, we had a poor performance on the men's side against Italy, but they were able to go back to Carton House, their training camp, work on the fundamentals. We see a huge increase in standard for set piece, and that was the launch pad for a great performance against France, and we got to play against them, and it was a winning outcome. We don't get to do that, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating here because I don't want to be number two. I want to be number one. The girls want to be number one. I'm very proud of the girls. It was harsh learnings, and already there's talk of how we're going to improve and how we can take responsibility to improve our skill level. But you're restricted in time. And
speaking of being number one, number two, now that you're the second best rugby team in the world,
enjoy it while you can.
Let's face it, what Wales did this Six Nations was it was incredible, and I think leaving national partisanship aside, they were by far and away the best team, and anybody who does that to the English gets our vote all day long, as you well know. But you are now effectively second favourites for the World Cup, aren't you?
Well, the World Cup is very different, isn't it? It's a different environment.
Hang on a second, you weren't saying that when you were playing, also about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, look, Wales are going in with a lot of confidence. They've played really well, and they've got used to winning. And as Lindsay knows, when you're used to winning, then that winning happens a bit more often. And when you're losing games and your confidence is down a bit, then it gets more difficult to get those wins.
But what's it like being the underdog? Now, what's it going to be like when the target's on your back?
Well, I think we'll still be the underdogs, won't we, according to many people about the place. I think we're only a small country, 3 million people. So if we can go to
they're
World
all
Cup,
our lines, Nigel. We've been using those for years. I'm sorry, mate.
But a few million more than us.
And do you not know yet if you're going to be going to Japan?
They'll be announcing it, I think, this week or next week, I believe. So yeah, so fingers crossed.
I'd say you're all right.
Anyway.
Yeah. Has anybody refereed 2 World Cup finals?
Yeah, Andre Watson did, I think, back in, he did the 99 World Cup and the 2003 World Cup.
There's time for another one.
Well, look, I think if there are I think it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, I think, and so I'm going to go there and enjoy myself and do my best, and there are plenty of other referees who will do their best, and I'm more than capable of refereeing the final as well. So.
Okay, very quickly, it will be your last World Cup, won't it?
Yes, it will be. I would think so. I can't see me going.
Was this your last Six Nations?
I don't know. I have to sit down with the powers to be after the World Cup and see what happens. I hope not, because if I'm still feeling like this and still refereeing well and still, doing my best on the field for the players, who are the most important people on the field, then I see a long time retired until.
Yeah,
so
you are indeed. So
we'll see.
I'm a Munster man, and Munster people, for some reason or other, feel, Nigel, that you have a soft spot for us. So please stay going.
Just don't forget the blue lens. Match with your eyes. We'll get you jerseys.
Listen, congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations on both your careers, and hopefully there's plenty more gas left in your tanks.
Thank you.
And just to remind people again, the Union Cup takes place Friday the 7th, Sunday the 9th of June, DCU Sports Campus. It will be a great sporting event. And it will just be a great event.
It will.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
Lovely to meet you guys.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
a lot.